Good evening. You're listening to the Garden City Community Chat Show with your hosts Carrie, Tom, and Mike. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Well, hello, Garden City and all our surrounding neighbors. How you doing tonight? We want to give a shout out to a few cities that watch us as well: Westland, Canton, Dearborn Heights, Dearborn, Livonia, Inkster, just to name a few. Welcome to episode number 680 of the Garden City Community Chat Show. It is Thursday, October 24th, 2024. So happy you could be with us tonight. We hope you're all safe and doing well. I am your host, Carrie, and also joining me tonight, former City Councilman Mike Jones. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing excellent, Carrie, but I'm getting better.
That's good. Also, Garden City's very own meteorologist, Dr. Tom Mywinski. How you doing, Tom?
Doing good. Much cooler air moving in this week.
Yeah, a little chilly out there for sure. Tom's going to be back shortly with the most current and up-to-date forecast for you, and then Mike's going to close out the show with some community announcements and events that are happening. So have your calendars ready. And while you have those calendars out, pencil in these upcoming shows, not outcoming, upcoming. Next week, October 31st, Halloween, we're going to have Bridget Jarvis. She has a 501c3 program in Wayne, I believe, called Santa Helps High Schoolers. We're going to find out more about that and see how you can help. And then going into November, on November 7th, we're going to have Garden City Mayor Mark Jacobs will be here. And then on November 14th, we'll be doing one of our Michigan exposure shows with Jenna and Chris Simpler. They're the owners of the Cartier Mansion Bed and Breakfast in Ludington, Michigan. It's a beautiful historical place that Mrs. Chat and myself had the privilege of staying. And I think you're going to like it too. So stay tuned for that. So join us for these upcoming shows and be sure to get them on your calendars. Tonight, we have a good one for you. State Representative Dylan Wegela is going to be here representing the 26th District, which includes Garden City, Inkster, and parts of Romulus and Westland. He'll be here shortly to update us on what's going on in Lansing and also answer any questions you might have as well. So stay tuned for that. I also want to mention real quick, if you're watching us live on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and post your questions and comments in the comments section. You can find us live right now on Facebook at facebook.com/GCChat. And over on our YouTube channel, just search for the Garden City Community Chat Show. You can also email your questions to us at gccommunitychat@gmail.com, which is up on the screen, and we'll do our best to get those answered for you. Remember, we're here to promote not only our community, but yours as well. And speaking of community, if your community organization or business has any events, announcements, or cancellations that you want to get out to our listeners, what should they do, Mike?
They should email us, Carrie. That would be the best.
Absolutely. Email the details to us at gccommunitychat@gmail.com or message us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/GCChat. And Mike will be more than happy to pass that information along for you.
Absolutely.
You're always welcome to come on the show and promote your community, business, or organization anytime. We also encourage any local business to check out and join the Garden City Business Alliance and see what great things they can do for you. For more information, head on over to their website at gardencitybusinessalliance.org. All right, we're going to get Tom in here now with a check of the weather, see what's going on, what's cooking, and then we're going to be chatting with State Representative Dylan Wegela. So stand by. Okay, let's do a check on weather with Doppler Tom. Let's see what he has in store for the rest of this week and the weekend coming up. Tom, take it away. Yeah, a little frost on the pumpkin out there this morning.
It's that time of year. But yeah, cooler air is definitely the name of the game and continues to be in the future. And some good news on tap as well is we're probably going to see more rain in the forecast, which is something we've been pretty absent much-minded in a good chunk of the month of October. It's been a fairly dry month, and haven't seen a couple days here or there some rain. And as we go into November, it's definitely going to get much more active in the weather department. But for now, we're definitely looking at the cooler evening out there. It's been fairly clear all day today, very sunny, and now it's fairly clear this evening with temperatures dropping right around 50 right now, going into the 40s as we go into the overnight hours. But the other change of it is we're going to have a new weather system moving in, and that will increase our cloud cover through the night. So we're definitely going to see a little bit more insulation in our temperatures as opposed to this morning when we were in the mid 30s for daytime highs with, again, a little bit of that frost that Carrie was mentioning. Overnight, we're definitely going to drop into the lower 40s and kind of hanging around the low 40s as we go into tomorrow morning with those clouds moving in. So the clouds act as a little bit of a blanket, if you will, just like you when you go to bed, so it doesn't get as cold overnight and into the morning. As the system begins to move in tomorrow morning and into the afternoon hours, we're going to see some rounds of showers moving through, especially early in the day. There's going to be a little bit of rain moving through as well. Doesn't look like this is going to be a major system by any means, but there's definitely going to be a little bit of rain throughout the day tomorrow, especially early in the day. And then we're going to get a little bit on the cloudy side as we're drying out during the afternoon hours. And we'll maybe see a little bit of peak of sun as we get toward the end of the day. And then we'll have to just kind of wait for the clouds to kind of break up. They're going to continue to kind of linger as we go into Friday night. And those temperatures, again, will probably drop into the 40s for overnight lows. But during the day, we're not even going to get out of the 50s. So, again, this cooler trend is really going to continue as we, again, play around with some weather systems, which won't really activate our temperatures either way. So kind of staying on the cooler side. And as we get into the upcoming weekend, it's definitely going to be a pretty good weekend on tap. Very fall-like weekend, very good weekend to do some fall activities. We're going to be seeing kind of those clouds decreasing Saturday morning, and then the sun really beginning to kind of poke back out as we go throughout the day on Saturday. And those temperatures, again, being into the mid to upper 50s as well. So very cool day out there. And then as we get into the overnight hours, we could see a little bit of 30s back into the forecast. And if you look real close, when the temperatures get close to the freezing mark, it starts to go from the rain icon to a little bit of the snow icon.
Oh, no.
But you also see the percentages of that, Carrie.
Yeah.
There is obviously a 0% chance. It's just indicating that it's cold enough that it can snow in these temperatures. But at this point, we aren't discussing that quite yet. But as we go into Sunday morning, we're definitely going to be fairly cold. I mean, we're going to be near freezing. So it's definitely going to be a very cold weekend, especially during the morning hours. And then we warm up pretty significantly during kind of the day from the 30s back into near 60. We could definitely see the atmosphere kind of recovering back into the upper 50s, near 60 degrees as we kind of go into Sunday afternoon. And again, you see pretty good sunshine continuing for a good chunk of the weekend. So just some cold mornings out there. Some more frost is a good possibility, but then we rebound with a lot of sunshine during the afternoon hours over the weekend. So not looking too shabby on that front. And then as we start a new work week, the last week of October, you can kind of see as we get into Monday, overall, we're going to see a little bit more cloud cover moving in. This is going to be ahead of a new system moving into the country. And overall, our temperatures will get a little bit warmer. We have a little bit of the southerly winds, as you see here. So we get some southerly winds, which increases our temperatures a little bit more. So we can see some lower 60s, starting to kind of get back into the picture of things. And overall, overnight lows don't get as cold with given the southerly winds out there at the bottom, you can see here. So we get into the lower 50s for overnight lows. Then as we go into Tuesday, that trend continues for just some mild air coming back into the picture. You see kind of the overall look of those southerly winds continuing and we will get into probably the low 70s, maybe low to mid 70s, because this southwesterly wind is very indicative of getting back into some milder air. This is a very common kind of fetch of wind that brings our temperatures up very quickly. So this could even be underdone a little bit. So I probably will think low to mid 70s as we go into Tuesday afternoon. So it's going to be a very late, warmish kind of day out there. I know Richard would probably like it, but overall, this doesn't appear to be a long stretch thing. We're going to be cooling back down as we get a new system moving in by midweek, and overall this is going to be increasing our rain chances. So as we get into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and into the upcoming weekend, it definitely looks like it will be more rainy. So we have much more opportunities to see more rain. We're going to see, as we go into Wednesday, the opportunity really begins to kind of build in late in the day. So we're probably not going to see much during the day on Wednesday. Another warmer day, probably getting into the mid to upper 70s again, given that southerly winds. So a good chunk of Wednesday actually does look dry, but as we get into the overnight hours and late into the period, that's when we kind of see the rain beginning to overspread the region. And as we get into Thursday, it's very likely at this point that we're going to be seeing rain showers across the board, across a good chunk of the region, and varying intensities, obviously, but definitely going to be kind of more on the rainy side, especially during the day on Thursday on Halloween. So unfortunately, we're going to be kind of dodging the raindrops as we kind of go looking at the 6 to 8 p.m. time frame for trick-or-treating. At this point, we could be dodging some rain showers at times. It doesn't look like it's going to be a complete washout at this point, but some of the good chunk of the day will look like it will have rain during it. So we're just going to have to wait to see if we can get a break for just a couple of hours. It's very possible that we could. I mean, I've seen Halloweens where it's been raining all day and then we have a couple hours of some drier time. I think even last year was like that. So overall, we're just gonna have to wait to see kind of how it goes. It's gonna be kind of a spooky evening with some cooler temperatures in the 60s and dodging some rain as we go into this time frame. So not the greatest news, but again, unfortunately, we could take the rain because it's been very dry. It's just not the greatest timing on Halloween. So other than that, as we go in toward the end of next week to start the month of November, we'll have some lingering rain showers during the morning on Friday morning, and then kind of drying things back out at times during the afternoon hours. Again, you can kind of see the temperatures really falling each day. By the time we were Wednesday, mid 70s, kind of going into the upper 60s for Thursday, and then we're already back into the 50s as we go into Friday, the 1st of November. So you see that system beginning to kind of move through, and once it moves through, it brings in that cooler air from kind of the north, and overall, we'll kind of see another round of showers beginning to kind of move in for Friday night and into Saturday as well of the 2nd of November. So it's going to be kind of tangling around with some systems. The system is going to be kind of a slow moving one. So a lot more rain opportunities as we get toward the end of the month and into the month of November. So I know we could take the rain. We'll keep an eye on kind of that Halloween forecast, but again, we could be dodging some rain showers during that evening. But for the most part, enjoy the weekend because it's going to be a very cool fall weekend, very classic weekend for any outdoor activities. And dodging a little bit of rain early in the day tomorrow. But other than that, not looking too shabby this evening. We'll deal with some lower 40s with some increasing cloud cover throughout the night. So enjoy that. And we have officially dropped into the upper 40s. So you already see kind of that increasing cloud cover beginning to kind of come into fruition. So if you want to keep tuned to all my local weather information, just go to this website, dopplertownweather.com, and it will keep you updated as we continue to kind of roll through the month of October and peeking into November. So already getting toward some cooler air over the weekend and then some more rain as we get toward the end of the month. So we'll take it. It could be much worse. I've seen crazier weather this time of year, and no snow is in the forecast, but it's definitely going to be getting there a little bit on the cooler side as we get toward the end of the year, but nothing in the immediate concern. So
yeah, not too bad, not too shabby. A lot of sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Steve Ray from the Garden City Fire Department has a question for you. I'm worried about polar vortex issues this winter. One of my biggest concerns is I might not recognize a polar vortex headed my way. What makes a polar vortex, and how worried should he be?
So the polar vortex is basically a news-grabbing term that the news loves to talk about. It's a vortex of cold air that's locked into the northern Atlantic. There's even one going on right now out there. It hangs out all year up there. Sometimes, like the year it did, I think it was like early 2010, or no, excuse me. it was when I was in school. So it was like 2020, 2019. A broken branch of that came down. It brings in much cold air. I mean, that's when we had wind chills of -40 across the area. So it can happen. The odds of it this year don't look very great. We're probably going to be seeing probably a warmerish winter. We'll probably break that down in future shows. I haven't done much research on that quite yet, but it appears that we're going to be kind of dealing with more of a mild winter like the last couple of years. So the chances of that are pretty low this year. So I wouldn't get too scared, Steve, but we'll keep an eye on that. And let me just end with this note. It's winter. It's going to be cold. So
yeah, we can guarantee that probably. So a polar vortex is basically a media term, really.
Yes, it's a meteorological term that the media scrutinized into making it a fear factor in things.
Right. All right.
As they always do.
All right. Good. Thanks for, okay, give me a heads up if one occurs.
We'll keep you updated, buddy.
All right. You have a good night, eh?
Thanks, sir.
See ya. All right. Let's introduce our guest for tonight. He is the state representative for our district. Please welcome Dylan Wegela. Hey, how you doing, sir?
Good. How are you doing? It's been a busy few months, but it's been good. It's an election year, so those always come with a whole lot of interesting situations and a bunch of door knocking. So that's where I've been spending a ton of time.
Well, look, thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate it, and I know you're going to have to leave. You have another event, I would imagine. So we'll get things going. First, why don't you go ahead and tell us what's going on in Lansing? Any updates for us?
Yeah, no, a lot. Well, first, I just want to say one, thank you to the community. I had a primary this year. We ended up winning the primary on August 6th. We took 73.8% of the vote in a two-way race and 88% of the vote here in Garden City. So just really grateful to continue to serve in this role. I have another election coming up November 5th. I feel like we're in good shape. We're continuing to work towards it. But in Lansing, it's this is what happens in election years is no matter which party is in control, essentially Lansing shuts down for the months leading up to the election. So we haven't been up there too much since the budget in June. A lot of in-district work and so forth. So a couple of things. One, I want to give a quick update on my Taking Back Our Power legislation. So we introduced two bills in February that would ban utility companies from donating in secret in Michigan. So consumers and DTE Energy. They're some of the biggest donors in Lansing, and our rates continue to rise, and our service is not adequate. We pay some of the highest rates and have some of the worst service in the Midwest. So these bills did that, and then just this fall, one of my colleagues introduced the other bills we crafted, which would ban all monopoly corporations receiving state contracts from donating through dark money pathways. So what corporations in Michigan do is they find nonprofits and political action committees that they can donate money to that will then spend money on the election, and it's very hard to track. It's one of the biggest influencers in our elections. So proud to say we're starting to gain some traction with the coalition. We've now have 22 state lawmakers pledged to support the bills, including we have actually at least one Republican now as well. So starting from nowhere essentially to moving to this point, it's a lot of movement because people generally in these spaces are a little worried to take stands like this because of the money that can be spent against you. Like, for example, when I introduced these bills, I had the Detroit News ask me, what are you going to do if DTE spends $100,000 against you in your election? So that's what's at stake. And I'll kind of pause there for a moment if there are any questions about that piece of legislation we've been working on.
Yeah, nothing. Oh, well, this one here on the screen right now, I mentioned this to you earlier with one of our listeners, John Murray, and he seems to think, well, I don't know if I can find it, but go ahead and comment on it. He seems to think that it might prevent job growth.
I think people would. It really depends on who you ask. As you can see, the bill passed overwhelmingly, and I went and looked up because I was curious. This got signed into law in July, and it passed the Senate 37-1. All Democrats in the House and Senate voted in favor of this legislation. So this is pretty nuanced. So I'm going to do my best to explain it in a way because I had to learn this myself before voting on it, obviously.
Yeah,
So
layman's
when people build buildings in Michigan, there's different ways to do it, but there's this one way, it's called design build, where you have the architect or the designer work with the builders to go ahead and build a product, and it's all done in one go, a building in one go. So every single way of building in the state besides schools historically can already use design build now. The only one that couldn't was public schools. They had to use what's called the traditional build model, which is where you have two contracts instead of one. So instead of contracting one company to do both, you have to go and hire a designer and a builder. So the school boards and the operating engineers union and some others actually were kind of the big pushes behind this legislation to simply allow public schools and schools across the state to, instead of having to have two separate contracts, have the one design build contract. So according to some estimates, this actually could save the schools money. It was something I did toil with because maybe, you have to think about, is it beneficial to have the two separate contracts, to have the designers design, the builders build? But when we look at all of state law to see that it was only schools that didn't allow this, ultimately that's what got me to a yes was, if we're going to allow design build models to happen everywhere else in every other sector, we might as well allow it in schools. And the School Boards Association supported this. And I know I've talked to John Murray about this before, but hopefully that was a good enough explanation.
Yeah, if he has any more questions, he can contact you for sure.
I do have some other stuff from Lansing I would love to talk about, unless I see DT on the screen though.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So a couple of other things we've been working on. This September, I just introduced a bill to require reasonable seating requirements from employers. The best way I think to think about this is, if you think, my mom was a cashier growing up. So if you go to the grocery store, you might notice, and maybe after I say this, you'll look a little closer. Only certain grocery stores actually allow cashiers to sit down while they work. They can do the job completely seated. Think Aldi's. If you've ever been to Aldi's, they're one of the few grocery stores that allows their cashiers to work. Meanwhile, you go to Meijer or Walmart, it's not an option and it's not allowed. So what we were aiming with this piece of legislation was, when jobs can be reasonably done while seated, employers should be required to allow their employees to sit and provide that seating. This goes all the way back to the early 1900s, actually. In the labor movement, and I was a history teacher, in the early 1900s, there's this big push in the women's rights movement and the labor movement to have reasonable seating requirements in workplaces. And almost every state in the United States developed these. Then comes, this push in the 70s and 80s to undo all of that, which happened here in Michigan in 1975. I think Granholm actually almost pushed for this type of legislation back in the day, but ultimately decided not to. States that already have this: California, Florida, Massachusetts, Montana, New Jersey, Oregon, and Wisconsin, simply trying to make sure that people who might not qualify to the level of disability, but have, maybe back injuries or something else, or it's difficult to stand for a long time, to have reasonable seating when they're working. To me, it's about dignity and so forth. And proud to say, actually, Ann Arbor unanimously passed this locally last week, actually. So that's a piece of legislation I introduced. It got referred to labor, willing to, work with business groups and labor groups to get this through. But it's something that, we've been modeling it off of some of the other states' legislation, and something that's important to me on a personal note, because 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And, I have certain days that are more of a struggle to get through than others, not to the level of where I think, it's necessary for me to go get, disability requirements. I was working in standing long hours, but you would think, like, if you can do your job seated, why not allow people to be successful in their workplaces?
Sure. Yeah. Makes sense for sure. So that's a bill that's in already?
Yeah, it's House Bill 5983, and it got referred to Labor Committee in September. So now we're in the process of trying to get that bill to be heard and moved forward.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
And-
I know DTE's been a thorn in your side and your pet project.
Yes.
And I don't know if you saw this. I think Channel 7 broke this, WXYZ, but up until April 12th of 2024, DTE charged customers needing a gas meter upgrade for generators a flat fee of $4.85. But now they're billing customers for both labor and materials. Now it costs $2,232 to upgrade a meter. Now they're getting these generators because they're getting such crappy service from DTE and their power's going out. So now DTE, it's like a mafia thing, man. They want to charge them, $2,232 instead of $4.85.
Yeah, it's and this is so my belief, and this is what I've essentially realized since being in office. I had a good sense of this beforehand, but I think I certainly, by all means, I'm a Democrat, proud to be one. I think our party is much more aligned to the working class needs, but I also recognize at the same time, it is the corporate players, it is the billionaire class that controls how things operate in our state. That's true under Democratic control and Republican control. And I think DTE is the best way for people to realize that, because it is one of the most popular issues. We did polling on my bills. 80% of people support legislation that prevents them from donating. And I think this is because people see it, right? We pay some really high rates and our service is just terrible. And there's no accountability whatsoever.
No.
And, if you look at, and I encourage everyone, if you look at outage maps, next time you look at them, look at the city of Lansing, look at the city of Wyandotte. Those two places have public utilities that are controlled by the city. They don't lose power as much because they invest their what would be profits back into the system to upgrade their transmission boxes and et cetera. And I think my house here in Garden City is a good example. I live in the neighborhood right by Cherry Hill and Warren and Middlebelt. My neighborhood, when we first bought our house, we lost power maybe 7 times one summer.
Wow.
DTE came in eventually and repaired the transmission box. And I hope people don't hate me for saying this, but I haven't lost power since then. And the point I'm making is DTE has the ability to upgrade their technology and infrastructure, but they're just refusing to do so because they'd rather give profits to their shareholders.
Right. Exactly. And what gets me is every time they want a rate increase, they seem to always get it. And that's another thing that really pisses people off.
Yeah. And, so it's on the legislature for sure. But I think it's also on whoever's the governor at the time, because the governor appoints MPSC members, but then the Michigan Public Service Commission, but then, and they're the ones who decide the rate increases. But the legislature gives the MPSC the tools that they have in their power to hold DTE accountable. And we haven't given them adequate tools. There are some of us pushing, and hopefully we continue to push. And that's been like the big focus for me, because I think it's all connected. I think if we really want a government that operates as a democracy, we need to make sure there isn't an outsized influence for corporations that are going to profit off of public tax dollars.
Well, I know you'll be on top of it, that's for sure, because DTE has been a real pet project for you, and we appreciate it. Captain Ray says he just had his whole house wired so he can plug his generator in because his power is so unreliable. And I believe
what's amazing too is that if you look at the outage maps too, it always seems to be lower income communities that have the worst service. And I think there's a direct connection to the dollars that are donated to campaigns too. You look at Detroit, you look at Garden City and Inkster and so forth. It's pretty obvious. And I think there are a lot of us in there that are pushing to see this change. And But there's a lot of money we're going up against, and that's just the truth of it.
Yeah, and you're in a lame duck session now too, right?
Yeah. So while right now it might be quiet, and to be honest, like a lot of my time has been knocking doors because we have a 1-vote Democratic majority. I want to make sure that we keep that majority. And I've been knocking for a bunch of my colleagues in other districts, as well as in district here. I think I've knocked the 5th or 6th most for people in what they call safe seats.
Wow.
Because I believe, we gotta keep control, and there's a lot at stake. And lame duck's going to be really, really busy because even if we maintain majority, we have someone running for Congress in the Senate. So we'll likely lose a senator if we keep majority. And if we don't keep majority, there's going to be this big rush to make as much change as we can with the power we have. Because it's been 40 years since we've had all 3 branches.
Wow. Yeah, Steve Ray says that it's bad in Novi too. That's where he's at, I think.
Yeah, it's really everywhere. That's the truth of it. And I think continuing to put pressure on them is good. Honestly, my bills where they might end up is they might end up as a ballot initiative at some point. I'm working with a whole coalition. They haven't decided to take it that route. But we're working with about 10 different grassroots organizations on this. And if we can't move it through the legislature, I hope the move is to put it to the voters. Because I think that might be the only way to get it done.
Yeah, somebody's got to hold their feet to the fire. That's all there is to it. John Murray's in there. He says the oversight group should not be party determined.
Do you know what he's referring to?
No, I think maybe the
maybe the MPSC shouldn't be appointed by the governor's office. Maybe that's that's interesting. I wonder maybe I'm trying to, I don't know off the top of my head. I haven't really thought about different ways to do that. My core belief at the end of the day, I think certainly working to hold DT accountable, but I also think we should strongly consider putting utilities in the public space. I mean, at this point in the 21st century here, electricity, it's almost to the level of importance as water is, right? It's you almost need it to survive, especially if you have insulin or life-saving machines at home, etc.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
A couple other things I'd love to chat about if that's possible.
Yeah, if you have the time. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, I know I'm running through this, but I did some stats for the first term, and I just wanted to share them because we've been working hard. So for the first term in office, because we're coming to the end of it here at the end of the year, we've sponsored / co-sponsored 363 different bills. Wow. I have 100% attendance record that I'm proud of in committee and in voting. We've hosted 37 community events, so over one a month. I've attended 150 different community events throughout the district, which has been difficult because we have 4 cities. And this is the big one. This is one that took me 3 years to do. I've knocked 15,000 doors and knocked every street in the district. It took me 3 years, but proud to have done that, to really understand. You probably can hear my dogs barking. That means my wife's home. To really understand what are people going through on the day-to-day level.
Right. Wow. That's phenomenal. Really is.
So if you haven't seen me in Garden City this year as much, it's because I wanted to knock the whole district. So I've been trying to make sure I do that.
So how many pairs of shoes have you wore out?
I think I'm on the 3rd pair now. And now we're going to be on 2nd and 3rd passes soon. But it's people, we are having more people reach out to our office because of it. And I think that's what's really good, because if someone has a unemployment issue or a Medicaid issue, and they reach out to the office, we can get those things expedited at the state level. And that, I think, is one of the underrated parts of this job, is helping people in those situations, and connecting them to community resources where they can get help, from nonprofits, whether that's either food or, different housing improvements for seniors, et cetera. That's been a big focus for me, because it's a high need in our community. We're a working class, low income community throughout the district, even here in Garden City. And it's something I think that I want to be that resource and that person that people can go to.
Well, we appreciate that. And you're very transparent. I know that. And you're always willing to talk.
Absolutely. Now I see the coffee hours on here. Want to make sure we'll send a text out, and I'm going to post this. So we've this year we've been doing every second Thursday at Radcliffe from 5:30 to 6:30. In November, we're actually not going to have the November date on the 14th. We're going to move it to the following week. We're going to do a town hall instead. So the slight difference is I'm going to have like PowerPoint slides. It's going to be like an end of term town hall, and it'll be from 6 to 8 on Thursday the 21st at the Radcliffe Center. And we'll post about this too, but I just wanted to make sure I said that while this was on the screen.
Yeah, make sure you post something, and we can share that as well. Okay.
Absolutely.
And all right, awesome. That's awesome. So I think you answered just about everything that we had tonight. I know we're pressed for time, but that's okay. Anything else you want to cover?
There's been a big fight in Lansing that we've been having on. I don't know if people are familiar with what data centers are, but they're essentially warehouses that house computers that that runs AI and it runs various different things, cryptocurrency, et cetera. And they're really harmful to the environment. They use a ton of water and a ton of electricity. So there's been this move by some members up there to give them, and the corporations I'm talking about, it's Google, it's Amazon, and it's Meta, Facebook. And they're trying to give them use and sales tax breaks. So me and others have really been fighting with me and the environmental community and other reps on both sides of the aisle have been fighting these tax cuts for corporations, for Meta and Google. And we successfully blocked them to this point. I'm not sure we'll be able to make it through lame duck, but want to just, celebrate that win that even, sometimes it's tough to make that fight, but you need to go do it because data centers, we'd be giving tax breaks to one, the wealthiest corporations in the country, but two, if you've ever worked at a data center or you go to them, there's only like 30 or 40 employees it takes to run the whole business, the whole thing.
Wow.
And in some areas, they need so much water that they'd actually have to build water infrastructure, which could end up raising rates for residents in different areas. So been working with my colleagues to put protections, but also, hopefully not get these bills passed. I've been a strong vocal opponent against them.
Well, that's good to get the word out there like that. Geez, Pete.
There's a ton of articles that have been written, and we've spent far too much time on data centers when we could be talking about, so many other things.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but to give them more tax breaks, I don't think so.
Wow. Another cool thing we did in the budget, though, like on the positive note, we passed tuition-free community college for recent graduates in district. It's something we funded through the budget. So just wanting to make sure people are aware of that and take advantage of that if they have kids graduating from Michigan, high schools, that they could go to their in-district community college, which I think for us is Schoolcraft, tuition-free. And that's something that we put in this year's budget. Hopefully we'll continue throughout the future budgets. And this is, I think, what the beauty of what you can do if you have revenue. And I've been someone who's big believer that more revenue at the state level is a good thing. And, obviously I think that should come from the corporate class, not the working class, but, a tax cut isn't always the best thing. That's what I want to say is, it's not, and no other politician is going to tell you that, but looking at how the state runs in the budget, we've cut a lot of revenue over the last 2 years. And I'm a big believer that if we want the schools and the roads that people, I think, want and deserve, it takes revenue. Yeah,
it does, for sure. And speaking of revenue, any money coming to Garden City that you know of down the pike?
Well, we're still fighting. So under two budgets now. The first year we secured in the budget $800,000 for the Garden City Fire Station remodel. It's been loving to see some of that work. Nice. And then in this past year's budget, we got the number a little bigger. We got $2.5 million for Garden City sidewalks, which I know has been something I heard about a lot as I was knocking doors. I'm excited to see what city council decides to do with that money and the parameters they put in place. and to see hopefully we make the city walkable.
Yeah, they're still working on that. Yeah, I guess that's been kind of sidelined for a while till they discuss more about it. So,
but
Good to know.
I think that was something I heard and wanted to make sure went and tried to fight for, and happy to do so. It's more is hopefully on the way. We'll see. Obviously, what happens with Democratic or Republican control matters, because I'm sure you've noticed that in the years that we've had Democrats up there, more money starts to come to the things that fund our community. So, I think one of the benefits I have is I've been building relationships across the aisle too. So maybe even under Republican leadership, I'll be able to pull something off. But that's my philosophy is I'll work with whoever wants to come to the table.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you got to work across the aisle. I mean, in order to get anything done, for sure. We're so divided right now. We don't need to be divided anymore. It's going to be a wild and crazy election.
And I just want to remind people they can early vote at the police station to get up there. I think that starts, if I'm not mistaken, today. On the 20th. Does it start today?
I think it was today.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I know it's 9 days prior. I guess I'd have to do my math on that. That might be right. But yeah, to get up there and vote. And I know I've got my ballot. I'm getting ready to turn it in. Hard to imagine more important elections than this one. And I am terrified at the outcome, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, let me tell you, I mean, every vote is going to count. So please get out and vote. Just get out and vote. It's your right. All right, Mike, you got any comments or anything you want to say?
No, I appreciate all that Dylan does for us locally.
Yeah.
And I'd be interested to see what the city council does with that sidewalk money, considering our section of the city and my sidewalks have the flags on them that need attention.
Yeah.
Am I going to have to pay for that, or is the city going to pay for it, or is it going to be a combination, or what?
Well, yeah,
I keep urging my grandson to vote. He lives with us now while he goes to school at Henry Ford, and he's getting mailers from Trump about every other day, trying to get him to his vote.
A lot of mailers. Yeah.
I try to stay in my lane of state politics, but I would be upset with myself if I didn't make a plea to not vote for Donald Trump in this election to our community. Would it be okay if I make a quick statement on that? I think everyone has to make their own conscious decision to vote, and I 100% respect that. But just wanted to come and give a couple reasons why I think not voting for Trump is extraordinarily important. One, the Trump administration gave some of the largest tax cuts to the wealthy that we've seen in a long time under his last administration. That's something that I have been obviously fighting through this job, but throughout my adult life. One, I think it is really terrifying to me. I'm vice chair of elections in Lansing, that a former president denies the viability of our elections, which helped lead to January 6th. I think that's a really big concern of mine to put that distrust in our democracy. We've had one of the most. This is my third reason. I'm just trying to give like 5 real quick. One of the most conservative Supreme Court's appointees in the history of this country, and at least in modern history, concerns over protecting the right of choice and protecting our bodily autonomy. He's a man who lies constantly and consistently. And lastly, Project 2025. Please read it. And if you haven't yet, this just came out a couple of days ago. If you're on the fence, please listen to what John Kelly has to say, who is Donald Trump's former chief of staff. In his own words, the man who worked closest to him called Donald Trump a fascist, right? Somebody who worked with him every single day. Talked about how he had admiring statements of Adolf Hitler. Talked about how his biggest concern for speaking out was Trump's recent comments about potentially using military on United States citizens and the need. What was the need to the enemy within? I think is the way that Donald Trump said it. Yeah. So that's my biggest thing is I really think that even if you're a Republican and conservative, I hope conscious ways here that I'm not So yeah, and I'll just leave it at that. It's something I'm passionate about, and I'm worried.
Yeah,
Okay.
you should be.
Captain
gonna be
Ray says that they're getting a second set of fire gear from a city grant. Helps us prevent cancer. And please support the Garden City Police and Fire Millage. Yes. You have my vote.
Yeah, mine
Absolutely.
too.
Got a sign in my yard. Steak.
I want to thank you for letting me on again. It's I think this is third or fourth time on now. I think I was on in March last.
Yeah, anytime, anytime you want to come on, even, after the election, win or lose, come on, but I think you got a good shot.
And I'll just encourage people, if you have people who should be recognized in the community, we can do tributes. If you have any issues, reach out to our office. And if you have a community event, I can't make them all. I try to make as many as I can. I also try to divide my time equitably among the 4 cities, because I know that was important to us. Under previous state reps, our city felt a little bit ignored. So I want to make sure I'm doing right by our other cities.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, thanks again.
In fairness, the guy couldn't visit us when he was in jail.
I have no comment on that one, but
yeah, that's in the past. So we're moving forward, right? It's always a pleasure to have you and catch up. And once again, you can contact Representative Wegela at votewegela@gmail.com, and everything's up there on the screen there. You can visit his website, DylanWegela.com, his Facebook page, a lot more information, facebook.com/DylanWegela26. All right.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
All right. Have a good night. And we'll see you again soon.
Take care. Bye.
You too. Okay. Very good. That's some good information. Yeah, he'll stay on DTE, I know. He can stand them, I'm telling you. And he isn't alone. And I'm glad somebody's fighting for us there.
There's a lot of people that are unhappy with their service.
Exactly. And can you believe what they're charging now, them people that want generators? My God, that's outrageous. Outrageous. Wow. Well, I don't know. Something's got to be done. All right, Mike, moving on. We are going to mention that the next city council meeting is Monday, October 28th, 7 p.m. in council chambers located at 6000 Middlebelt Road. These are meetings that it's a good way for you to get involved and voice any concerns that you may have as well.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to get Mike in here now. Are you ready, Mike?
I'm ready.
We're going to do some community announcements, and then we'll close out the show.
Well, that'll be
it's time for some community announcements. Let's get back in here, Mike.
You know it's a lie, 'cause that'll be the day when I die.
Good job. All right, we got some new ones and some old ones.
Robert Lee School of Dance is having Zumba Gold from 12 to 12:45 for $7, and Zumba Toning from 1 to 2, only $10. Bring a friend for free. Pause your problems, join the party.
Yep.
Wayne County Veteran Services are meeting every Tuesday and Thursday from 8:30 to 4:30 in the Radcliffe Center. Call Wayne County for an appointment, 313-506-0302. And the American Legion Department of Foreign Veterans Affairs meets every Tuesday from 9 to 3. Call and make an appointment there.
It's a good deal because you don't have to go downtown anymore and battle.
Right. If you've got concerns about your benefits as a veteran, it's a lot easier to get them addressed. Penny Bingo. Join us at the Garden City Senior Center on the first and fourth Wednesday of every month from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. 25 cents for a bingo card. Bring lots of pennies. If you win, you get all the pennies that were on the cards. and you
Yeah.
won't have to bring your own. You can pay for your 25 cents for the next one.
Yeah.
Any questions, please call 734-793-1870. It's for ages 50 and older.
Yep.
Dennis Diekman, the carpet cleaner, does tile and grout cleaning, upholstery cleaning, hardwood floor cleaning, residential and commercial. Call him at 734-299-6496 to set up an appointment.
Yeah, Dennis is in there tonight listening. He said that the trunk or treat over at the Radcliffe Center was great turnout. Last I heard, they had like 50 trunks, so that's a good
Yeah,
successful.
I don't think they hit their maximum of 1,000 tickets. At least that's what I heard
Mm-hmm.
at the Kiwanis lunch today. They were in between 700 and 800 tickets sold.
Yeah, and
So-
it was a real nice gesture that Dominic King made. He bought 100 tickets, I think, and then gave them to a bunch of kids that
Yeah.
needed him. So that was nice.
Okay, Garden City senior class has yoga classes. Yoga is a gentle way to improve your posture, balance, and coordination. Classes are on Monday at 5 to 6, Thursdays from 5:45 to 6:45, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Drop in for $6. You can get a punch card for $36, and that includes 8 visits. So you save on 2 visits. For more information, call 734-793-1870.
Yeah.
Angels Aids. Stephanie Peters offers a variety of aids for handicapped and senior citizens. Very reasonable rates. Transportation services are available. Call her at 248-818-5334. Open skating in the Garden City Ice Arena every Tuesday and Thursday from 12 to 1:20, $7 for adults, $6 for children, $3 for skate rental.
Now, this is the kind of flyer I like right here. Nice and big, easy to read, beautiful.
Yeah.
Good job. This one too.
Yeah. Shannon Coffey, the notary babe. Yeah, all your notary needs, she can handle them. Call 734-469-8821.
Yep.
Parents' night out. Games, crafts, and pizza for the kids 5 to 12, $20 per person. The next one's on November 15th. Crafts game. It's pizza, yeah, et cetera, et cetera. Garden City Parks and Recreation is sponsoring this, and this, of course, is at the Radcliffe Center.
Yep. It's a good deal. If you want to go out on a date, drop the kids off. They'll be safe. Have a good time.
Yeah. Straight Farmhouse, located at 6221 Merriman Road in Garden City. I was there today. It's open on Wednesdays and Saturdays from noon to 3 for our visits. For more information, go to www.straightfarmhouse.org.
Yeah, check their website out because they have a lot of good events going on.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just too many to list here. They got something going all the time. They do a great job.
Yeah, well, that and the Optimus building, they can hold so many events, even 2 at the same time.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay, Garden City food drive. Oh, this is the police versus the firemen.
Yep.
Competition, October 21st to November 24th. Bring in your canned goods. They'll donate them to the Garden City Food Pantry.
Yep.
And both the police and the fire claim that they're going to have more donations than the other.
Yeah. Hard to choose one. They're both great.
Yeah. Trunk or Treat, the Wellness Rock Cafe, 2nd annual, formerly known as Garden City Nutrition's Trunk or Treat. It's free for everyone. It's on October 25th. Geez, that's
Tomorrow.
That's what, tomorrow?
Yeah.
From 8 o'clock to, or from, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
Right.
It's going to be at 30020 Ford Road in Garden City.
Yeah.
Face painting, a photo booth, and more.
I think it's back behind Plato's over in that area back there, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong. You can Google it.
Yeah, well, For joining us for Garden City's Presbyterian Church has an annual trunk or treat.
Yeah.
It's going to be on Sunday, October 27th from 4 to 6 at the Garden City Presbyterian Church, which is located at 1841, is that? Middle Belt Road in Garden City.
Yep. 1841. Yep. Boy, it seems like there's a trunk or treat every day right up till Halloween, huh?
Yeah, well, that's like the second or third one when Westlands was last night. So
Yeah, they had a big one too.
yeah, I guess that was huge.
Yeah.
Information meeting, co-ed middle school swimming. Practice begins November 4th through
Yep.
7th from 5 to 6:30 at the high school pool.
Yep. Meeting is at the middle school cafeteria during lunch. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice pool. Beautiful pool over there now.
Yeah. It's too bad because of liability that they can't open that up to the whole community.
I know. I think at one point they were thinking about it. So I don't know. Maybe it's still in the works, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
Well, you'd have to have somebody there
Oh, you have to. Yeah.
all the time.
Right.
You know. Okay, Hollywood cake decorating class Tuesday, October 29th from 6 to 7. This is going to be at the Radcliffe Center. It's open to all ages, $12 per person.
Yep.
Halloween dog party, October 31st, $5 per dog.
Oh,
Oh, large breeds from 3 to 4 and small breeds from 2 to 3. Where is this located at? Garden City Parks and Recreation is sponsoring it.
yep. Radcliffe Center, I believe.
Could be.
Yep.
Ballroom dancing, Garden City Parks and Representatives sponsoring ballroom dancing on Fridays from November 1st to December 13th from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. It's $70 for a 6-week session, ages 18 and up.
Do a good job. You'll be on Dancing with Stars, maybe, huh?
Yeah, with my back. Sure.
Your back and my knees? No.
Oh yeah. Good grief.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. As I told you before the show started, I'll try to be on next week. I don't know about the week after. It depends on how the surgery goes on November 1st.
Right. Yeah. Well, don't rush it. Yeah.
Well, it's scheduled to be outpatient.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see. If there's no complications, I'll be home Friday night.
And you said this surgery isn't as major as the other one you had, correct?
No, it's in the same location area, but it's not as significant. No.
Okay. Well, we'll be thinking of you.
I appreciate it. I'll take all the prayers and thoughts that and best wishes I can get.
Yep.
Okay, line dancing class, Fridays, November 1st to December 13th from 2 to 3, a 6-week session, $70, ages 18 and up.
Boy, line dancing, ballroom dancing, man. They're getting
Yeah.
it. Oh, another job fair. Yeah.
Yeah, the Garden City Hospital is hiring RNs, pharmacists, occupational therapists, respiratory therapists, radiology techs, pharmacology techs, CT techs, nurse case managers, food services, up to a $15,000 sign-up bonus.
Wow. Yeah. Tuesday, November 5th from 9 to 4. Okay.
Okay.
Same day interviews and offers. So you might walk in, walk out with a job.
Veterans Day celebration, November 11th at 11 o'clock a.m. in the Gardens City American Legion Post, honoring all who served. They're located at 6880 Middle Belt Road in Garden City.
Yeah, I guess they moved it over to the post instead of having it in front of City Hall now. So
Neighborhood Watch is back, second Tuesday of every month, 7 p.m. in the Garden City Police Department. The next meeting is November 12th.
correct. We just talked about
Dennis,
this.
he's got one more he just announced a correction to that. That's
that's
on November 14th. He's going to be meeting on November 21st.
right, from 6 to 8, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think that's what he said. And it's going to be a town hall type of event.
Right. And
With
he'll
slides.
post something on his Facebook page, I would imagine, he said.
Yeah.
This looks
Rotary's,
like a fun event.
Rotary's Dueling Pianos. That's one of their big events, Saturday, November 16th from 6 to 9:30 in the Moose Lodge at 27225 West Warren in Dearborn Heights. $20 per ticket. You can have reserved tables for 8 for $200.
Yep.
Kiwanis has got 6. I think the Kiwanis filled out their table. They got 8 now.
Oh, okay. You're going to that then?
No.
Oh.
I'm not committing to anything until I get out of this.
Oh, right.
Get past this surgery.
Yeah. November 16th.
I didn't even commit to bell ringing this year.
Hopefully you'll be in good shape by then.
Yeah.
Well, that's like me. I mean, I'm in the same boat, not as far as having surgery, but Mrs. Chat's going to have her surgery, and
yeah,
we'll have the mayor on hopefully November 7th, I believe, depending on how she's doing. So we'll need some thoughts and prayers for her as well.
Yes.
And that's all I have, Mike.
Okay, I got a few things from the Senior Echo. So these are mostly of interest to seniors. There's a Thanksgiving lunch on Friday, November 8th, $10 at the Radcliffe Center from 12 to 2. Catered lunch, good time with your friends. Game room and card room will be open. You do have to register in advance for that. They have a Cornwell's Turkeyville Lunch Theater, $55 on cost on Tuesday, December 3rd from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock. It's open for ages 50 and up. Their Christmas party is going to be on Friday, December 13th from 12 to 2 in the Radcliffe Center. That's open to 50 and older. Music, catered lunch, 50-50 raffle. Tickets are only $20.
That ain't bad.
Okay, what else have I got here? Tech Talk with Julie. You can make appointments by calling 734-793-870. It's for ages 50 and older. We talked about all those. I think that might be just about it.
Okay.
Flip to the last couple pages and make sure I don't have anything else.
Just a lot of trunk or treats coming up, and it'd be Turkey Day and then Christmas. Holy cow. Where'd the year go, huh?
Right. Yeah, I think that's all I got.
All right, I just want to give a quick shout out to some of the people that joined us tonight. Derek Parton from DSD Sports was in there.
Yeah, Red Wings had a good game the other night.
Yeah, they
not
were
much offense, but they had really good defense. They're playing again tonight.
Yeah, they were winning. Well, his last post was 2-1. It's probably changed now, but he also had his premiere show last night.
Oh, really? Good.
Yeah, everybody wants to check that out. Also, Annette McNeil was in there. Hello, Annette. Thank you. Captain Steve Ray from the Garden City Fire Department. Appreciate that. Dennis Dykeman from the Carpet Cleaner Man. He was in there. Also, Mrs. Chat was in there. Stopped by to say hi. Michael Bingo was in there. Thank you for joining us. DSD Sports Chat just posted 2-2. Scores 2-2.
Red Wing game.
Yeah.
Pistons played a pretty good game last night. They lost.
Danny Bartley was watching. And a few other ones in there I can't see. So thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. And with that said, Mike, I think we're ready to call this a
podcast.
Big thanks to our guest, State Representative Dylan Wegela. Once again, you can contact him with any of your concerns. His email is votewegela, that's WEGELA, @gmail.com. Also, a big thank you to my fantastic co-host, Dr. Tom Iwinski and Mike Jones. Great job as always. And a huge shout out and thank you to each and every one of you for sharing part of your time with us tonight and every week. We're celebrating 14 years and 680 plus shows, and we owe it all to you. Thank you very much. Can you believe it? 20 away from 700.
Yeah,
Wow.
we should hit it in the early part of next year.
Yep. That'd be another big celebration right there. Remember, the show will be available right after we sign off tonight on Facebook, so we hope you'll catch it at your convenience, especially if you tuned in late by going to facebook.com/GCChat. And feel free to share the show with your friends. We would appreciate it. Also, catch us on our YouTube channel. Just search for the Garden City Community Chat Show. You'll find not only this show, but all our past shows as well. Click on the live tab and they'll pop up for you. Please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button too. We would appreciate that. And at the end of our shows, we like to thank all the healthcare workers, first responders, police and fire, everyone on the front lines who serve and protect us every day. We can't thank you enough. Be sure to be safe, and we want you to know that you and your families are in our thoughts and prayers every day. And whenever you see any of these heroes, go ahead and let them know how much you appreciate them. Any final thoughts, Mike?
No, my usual encourage everybody to get vaccinated as well as to vote if you haven't already.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Dylan said, this is a critical election.
Yep.
The whole future of our country might depend upon how this turns out. And I'm worried.
Yeah. It's going to be crazy, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Remember, the success of a community, Mike, depends on the community. So please support your local businesses. And please, like Mike said, don't hesitate, vaccinate. Get that COVID booster and your flu shots. Remember, you're not only protecting yourself, but you're protecting others as well. And Mike, if you see something,
say something.
Exactly. We need to look out for one another out there. For all your weather information, make sure you head on over to drtomsweather.com.
Oh,
Got a great user-friendly website over there. A lot of good weather information. Go ahead, Mike.
I have season tickets to U of M, Michigan State, U of M playing Oregon, and I'm quite likely not going to be able to use those. So
Wow.
If anybody would like to go, contact me, and I'd be glad to help you try to get.
You want to give your phone number or no?
Sure, 734-522-7158.
There you go. Michigan State, and Oregon, Michigan.
Yes.
Wow, that's great. Okay.
The Oregon, Michigan, I can't commit that I would be able to go to that game with that close to my surgery.
Exactly. Yeah. You'll have to heal up for a few weeks anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Good deal. So look, we hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for listening. If you would like to contact any of us here at the chat for any reason, once again, email us at gccommunitychat@gmail.com. We would like to hear from you. Let us know how we're doing, what you'd like to see more of. We like to have a variety, that's for sure. We will see you next week, October 31st, for Halloween night, when our guest will be Bridget Jarvis from Santa Helps High Schoolers. It's a 501c3 program that she's running. We'll find out all about it next week. So until then, follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/GCChat and on our YouTube channel. Once again, just search for the Garden City Community Chat Show and make sure you smash that subscribe button. We would appreciate it. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your week. Stay warm because it's going to be a little chilly out there.
Yeah.
Mike, you take care, bud.
You too.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. You guys have a great rest of your week. Like I said, stay warm out there. It's going to be kind of chilly. And whatever you do, be sure to vote. We need you to vote. Make that vote count because everyone's going to count. All right. Have a good night. Take care.